Welcome to the 5 Tips for College Writing presentation brought to you by University Academic Success Programs. This presentation will review the top 5 things to know about college writing, along with some strategies for implementing these tips while working on writing projects. The first tip is to start the process early by critically reading your assignments. Have you ever waited until the last minute to start your paper? We've all been there where we've started later than we would like. And while that may have worked before, that might be harder to do as demands on your time increase and the expectations for your writing increase. The earlier you start, the less stress you will have, and typically the greater the quality of your writing. Sometimes you will get a detailed rubric with what to read, how to organize, etc., but you may get an assignment that asks you a general question and asks you to just jump in and go for it. How do you know what the instructor is looking for? Look at the words of the assignment. Does it say summarize, agree or disagree, discuss, illustrate, analyze? All these mean different things. Summarize is a reiteration of the reading, whereas discuss at all looks for you to evaluate something in the reading, such as how well the evidence in a reading supports the author's claim. When in doubt, ask your instructor for further clarification. Critically reading is about reading with a purpose. To do this, you can use a reading log to keep track of key information as you read and to help you paraphrase later. We will show you an example of a reading log on the next slide. This reading log can assist you to start comparing and contrasting ideas presented in sources, and it records information that you may want to find or learn more about. At the end of reading, you will then have something physical to show for your time. You can use the reading log example, note cards, or an outline. Be as creative as you want. And remember, you should read in such a way that you can explain to another person what you read in your own words. Here is an example of a reading log. Not only are you starting off with a full citation at the top, but it has some questions to prompt you to note some critical pieces of information about the reading, so you can review the log to remember what you read and what you thought about the content. The next tip is to spend time brainstorming and outlining what you want to write before you put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard. But what happens if you are not inspired by the prompt or have no idea where to go with it or just struggle with getting started and knowing where to begin? There are a lot of different ways to brainstorm ideas. You can use a word cloud, create an outline, or do a Google search. You could even discuss the prompts with your friends, instructors, or a writing tutor at one of ASU's writing centers. Finally, consider a pre-writing activity where you write down your thoughts and ideas without stopping. Once you have an idea of where you will want to go, the next question you should ask is how you can organize your thoughts in the most compelling way. Before starting to draft, an outline can help give you a skeletal structure to your document or paper. By organizing your thoughts and your evidence in a particular order, you will be able to have an impact on your reader's understanding of your topic or argument. There are a lot of different strategies to outline your ideas. You can write it out, put it on note cards, map it out in a diagram, or cut and paste in a Word document. You should consider revisiting your outline more than one time as your information and paper develops so that you can keep track of how your thinking on the topic is changing and expanding. Brainstorming and outlining can even help when you are choosing a topic. Be sure to find a topic that meets the guidelines of your professor's assignment description. Choose something that you're interested in or curious to learn more about because researching your information will be more enjoyable and you will write with more enthusiasm. Finally, remember the Writing Center encourages you to meet with tutors at any stage of the writing process, and that includes brainstorming. Schedule an appointment to meet with a tutor to help you brainstorm ideas, draft and outline, or review your ideas. Next, you will want to make sure you are able to develop your argument with strong evidence. Having an argument does not mean you are having a dispute or loudly stating your opinion. It means you are taking a position on a particular topic or question and supporting your position with evidence from credible sources. When you are crafting an essay argument, you should remember that it is made up of the statements you arrange to create a structure. This structure contains three parts where you state your claim that is interesting to the reader, offer evidence that supports the claim to make it plausible, and finally demonstrate that you have considered potential objections or counterarguments that exist to your claim. Evidence is not always numbers or statistics, but could also be quotes, examples, claims, or events in the readings that you feel support your claim. When you are reading through your research, be sure to highlight or note information in your sources that will be most relevant to your argument. When you are working on your outline or draft, ask yourself questions like, why do you want to include this evidence? How important is it? And where will you fit this into your paper? Be sure you go through your evidence at least twice and note things you feel are the most critical points to include. So, why do you need to find sources for your evidence? Sources help you to educate yourself about a topic to be able to write in an informed way. They enable you to discover the most recent information that informs the topic and ensures you are staying up to date. Using sources also helps you be credible by finding evidence to support your thesis statement. You can locate sources at the ASU libraries by using an academic research database, and you can talk with an ASU librarian for additional assistance. While you are searching for sources, you will want to keep in mind there are two main types of sources. First, there are scholarly sources. These consist of research that was conducted by experts in a field and have been evaluated or reviewed by other experts in the field to confirm the information is accurate and meaningful. Scholarly sources will typically contain many citations as evidence and a full list of all sources in a works cited or reference page, and are often long, somewhere between 10 to 30 pages. They may contain figures or tables to show data, and you will often find scholarly sources in academic journals available in libraries, university websites, or other .edu or .gov websites. There are also popular sources available. These sources may focus on news and current events. They often do not include citations of sources in the text, and often do not have a works cited or reference page. Popular sources may contain general interest stories, which can refer to research, but do not contain original research and are often written by members of the general public. These may not be peer-reviewed or evaluated, and are often shorter, typically a few pages. Typically, popular sources are found in newspapers, magazines, blogs, .com, and .org websites. Here is a table example that breaks down the differences between scholarly and popular sources. Different writing assignments may have different expectations for what types of sources you should be using, and any requirements regarding the number of sources you should have. If you are unsure if you should be using scholarly sources, popular sources, or a mix of both, review your assignment description or follow up with your instructor. Once you find a source, be it scholarly or popular, you should also evaluate sources for credibility. Scholarly sources are often preferred in academic writing in your classes. But if you are using a popular source, think if you have a good rationale for using this particular source. Look at the year the source was published and ask yourself, is the year of the source publication relevant to your argument? Do you need a current source as evidence to strengthen your own argument? Or do you need an older source to show context, history, or background? Finally, you may want to consider what biases the author of the source may have. That could lead you to search for sources that present an alternative viewpoint. The next tip is about the process of drafting and revising your paper. The first version of the paper should not be what you turn into your instructor. First drafts are often not only filled with little typos and errors, but also are not typically as strong as they could be in terms of word choice, organization, idea development, or use of evidence, because you are just getting your thoughts out in a first draft. By spending time drafting, you are able to get all your ideas down first and then spend time evaluating your writing to find ways to make it stronger. Reread your draft first with a critical eye and ask yourself if you could reword, reorganize, or add or remove details. Do you repeat yourself? Are there areas where you lack enough information? Are your sentences clear? Do you have enough evidence to support your claim? How well does the structure or organization or order of paragraphs work for your paper? There are a variety of strategies to revision. You can set your paper aside for a few hours or days to then approach it with fresh eyes and reread out loud for revisions to hear how your sentences sound. You could also reread your paper from the last line to the first line to solely focus on your sentence grammar and word choice. You can have a writing tutor or friend read through your document and give you some feedback. Once you have reviewed, you can decide what areas you want to revise. After making those revisions for content or organization of ideas, you can look through for final issues such as typos, format, citation, or grammar. Consider proofreading for one specific type of error at a time. You could do this by circling every punctuation mark and citation, and then going back to specifically evaluate them for their correctness. You may need to revise more than once to make sure you catch all the areas you want to improve. You will find that you read differently when reviewing for content than how you read to review when proofreading for something like grammar. So again, that first tip on starting early is important for this process as well. There are some additional common errors in academic writing to consider when revising your document. Often, there is a topic that is too general, or a thesis or claim that is non-specific. These two things can not only make it difficult to search for sources, but could potentially lessen the impact of your writing. Using too many direct quotations can be a concern as well, since the reader then does not get to hear your thoughts. Another common error is when using sources is required, not engaging enough with the reading or other sources. Typically, an instructor is looking for you as the writer to do more than just summarize or state the facts again. Instead, they are looking for you to use the text as a piece of information to support an argument or as a foundation for analysis and deeper thinking on an issue. The next issue is inadequate structure of the paper. To avoid this, you should include a clear thesis or claim, use topic sentences to connect each paragraph or section to the thesis and to introduce a new supporting point, and use transitions to guide the reader through your supporting points. A final common error is that not enough time is spent on the paper as needed. Taking time to draft and revise is one of those steps that can help ensure you are dedicating time on your writing projects. The final tip you should keep in mind with college writing is to focus on citing your sources and remember to utilize your resources. Citations are a critical part of your document because it is giving credit to the other authors and sources you referenced in forming your thesis or argument. Not properly citing your sources can lead to concerns from your faculty regarding academic integrity or plagiarism, and could have a negative impact on your class experience. To start citations, pay attention to where in your document you directly quoted evidence or paraphrased information taken from sources. To avoid plagiarism, make sure that you give credit to a source if you present an idea, definition, statistic, recommendation, etc., that is not your original thought. For all information, you need to cite your sources using a citation style approved by your instructor. The citation style is a series of formulas about how to cite your sources and show your readers where your evidence came from. Make sure you have carefully cited sources and followed the citation formulas exactly. This is one way to avoid plagiarism and maintain your academic integrity. Your instructor may request that you use a specific citation style, such as APA, MLA, AMA, IEEE, or Chicago style, to name a few. If you are unfamiliar with the required citation style or need to brush up on a style you are familiar with, this is a great opportunity to use your resources. You can find your instructor's approved citation style book in a book form in the library or in your campus writing center. Style guides and resources are available online as well, but beware of just blindly using citation generators. If the information generated is incorrect, you need to be able to spot the error and correct it. There are plenty of other resources available to you as an ASU student to get support brainstorming, writing, and reviewing your document. Use your faculty members' office hours to talk through any questions or to seek clarification on expectations. Schedule a writing tutoring appointment for help at any stage of the writing process. You can go to the library, either on campus or their online site, to access their staff and resources, in addition to finding sources like books and articles. Or you can look for additional websites to assist you. There are two ways you will cite what you read as a source in your writing. The first is by paraphrasing, which is when you use the information that you are most interested in finding and data in how a source expresses them, and when you can say the same thing more clearly. To do this, first put the source away for a while to focus on the ideas and not be tempted to use the same words as the author. If you use a reading log, you may be able to check those notes. Once you paraphrase information, be sure to compare it to the original source for correct meaning and to make sure it is not a mirror image of what the author wrote. Make sure to include in-text and reference page citations to give credit to the source of information. You will be using direct quotation and quotation marks whenever you have a string of 3 words or more directly taken from your source's text. Use a direct quotation when you use the work of others as primary data, when you appeal to their authority, when the specific words of your source matter because those words have been important to other researchers, you want to focus on how your source says things, the words of your source are vivid or significant, or you dispute your source and want to state their case fairly. To review, the 5 strategies for college writing we discussed are: start early by critically reading, brainstorming and outlining, develop your argument with evidence, draft and revise, and check citations and use resources. So now, take some time to think and reflect on these following questions. Why would your instructor expect you to do these tasks with your writing? Why or what can these tasks look like when you write your first class assignment? How could you utilize these strategies outside the classroom? Thank you for watching this presentation on 5 tips for college writing. We hope to see you at one of our centers soon. Writing tutoring appointments are real-time, one-on-one appointments that you can attend online via Zoom or in person at campus sites. To view schedules and make appointments, please visit our website at tutoring.asu.edu/writing-centers or call 480-965-9072 for assistance.